The year was 1999, and the place was an upscale shopping district in Tokyo known as Ginza. This is where the first ever Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament was meant to be held, known only as the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters National Tournament. And it was here, with a gathering of nerds. Oh, but these weren't ordinary nerds, by the way. These were trendy nerds. These were the nerds that were hip with the new craze. So, this is going to be a video on the rarest card in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! So, you know, I could start this off by going down. I considered going down the list. Like, let's start with number 10, number 9, number 8. But you know what? There are websites you can go to for that I had to go to get research for this. So you know what? I'm just going to cut to the chase. The rarest card in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! I was hoping it was going to be something special. I hope it wasn't just something that you could get out of, like, oh, there was a tournament and you got these booster packs and there's a card in that booster pack and then here's a regular card and it just happens to be very rare. No. No, it was a prize card. It was a prize card at this tournament, the first ever Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament. So that alone just makes it special, kind of like a time capsule from days gone by, before the card game was even in existence here in the United States or anywhere else. It was just released in Japan. The prize card in that tournament was a Blackluster Soldier. But not the Blackluster Soldier that we know about, the one that's the ritual monster. No. This was a normal Blackluster Soldier. In fact, there were 4 prize cards at this tournament, and it was just the Blackluster Soldier was the first place prize card, but there were 4. And they were all ritual monsters that were changed into normal monsters just for this one event. Okay, the only other time you will ever see a Blackluster Soldier as a normal monster, you know, that isn't like a fan creation, is in the video games and at this tournament. It's the only time you'll see that. So that adds to the rarity a little bit. Like, okay, it's a prize card in a tournament, the first ever Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament back in 1999. It was awarded to the winner of the entire tournament, so first place, and it happens to be a ritual monster that was made into a normal monster. It's also not even printed on regular cardstock paper. It's printed on a steel sheet. So it's metal. All of these ritual cards are. So it's an abnormality. And that's the thing you gotta look for when you're looking at any sort of rare card. You want to look for something that's special, that's unique, okay? Because, going into this, I didn't know what I was going to find. You know, I had never really seriously tried to look up what the rarest Yu-Gi-Oh! Card was. I had some ideas, words through the grapevine over the years. Like, I knew Crush Card, the first ever tournament Crush Card. I knew that one was really expensive, and it is, about $2,400. That's a lot of money for a card. I also knew about the Chinese version of the Dark Magician, or it's better known as the version of the Dark Magician that Arcana used in his duel with Yugi. I knew that was going to cost you a pretty penny, and it does, $1,000. There were a few other cards that I didn't know were super rare that came along later, like there's a Doom Caliber Knight, which I think was used in the first, version of Yu-Gi-Oh! I think maybe Bakura might have used Doom Caliber at some point, but I don't really remember it all that well. That card's about $700. There's Armament of Lethal Lords, a card I had never heard of before, and that'll cost you $8,000. During my Dark Magician girl video, I remember mentioning that kid that bought that Dark Magician girl online, the really rare one, for like $7,000. That was off of eBay though. But yeah, this Blackluster Soldier though, it just blows the competition out of the water. So this is what happened. There was a card collecting website over in Japan. I say there was one because I tried looking it up myself and I just got this, so I'm guessing the domain got bought out. But there was this card collecting website at some point where, sellers could list their rare cards and the price and they could make a deal and all that crap. There was a listing for Blackluster Soldier at one point, the tournament card, and the seller wanted 998 million yen for it. That's just south of $1 billion yen, which translates out to around 10 million US dollars. And the card itself had a tag on it, which means the genuine article. It had a slip of authenticity and all that stuff. It was confirmed to be the first place prize card at the very first Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament. The prized Blackluster Soldier, which is printed on the steel sheet, okay? Now, of course, just because the seller was asking for around 10 million US dollars does not mean it's worth that much. That's just what the seller thinks it's worth. And to my knowledge, no one actually bought the card. And like I said, I tried looking up the website and the domain was not working for me. So I don't really know what exactly happened with it, but we can assume that the person never bought it. I really like looking into rare cards like that. Like, I'm not that big of a Magic the Gathering fan, but I'm really interested in the card, the Black Lotus, just because of the alpha variant of that card being worth, hundreds of thousands of dollars on eBay. That just blows my mind. There's a listing for a card like it's that rare. Like, oh my god. Now, once again, just because the seller is, like, I want this card for 200G, that doesn't mean it's actually worth 200G, all right? But it's cool that these cards could be worth that much. So I was not disappointed when I found this out. However, I want to throw something else out there. The Blackluster Soldier was not the only prize card at this tournament. There were 4 of them. There was the Blackluster Soldier for first place, Zera the Mant for second place, the Super War Lion for third place, and the Fiend's Mirror for fourth place. The Fiend's Mirror is the only one here that I do not own, and these were all ritual monsters that were translated into normal cards for the tournament prizes. Once again, this is the only time in the history of the entire card game that a ritual monster was, converted into a normal monster outside of the games, and so there you go. So honestly speaking, yeah, the Blackluster Soldier is technically the rarest or the hardest to get because it was only given to the first place champion. But still, Zera the Mant, Super Warline, Fiend's Mirror, there's still only one copy of each of them, and they have all the same qualities as the Blackluster Soldier. So if we're going to go down the road that this thing is worth 10 million freaking dollars, then the other 3 cards would also have to be around in that same ballpark. That's once again claiming that they really are that rare. But the thing that really makes it fantastical is there's only one in existence. That's the thing you really gotta look for. Crush Card, the original tournament one, is really rare, but there's more than one. Even the legendary, this was another card I found when I was looking into it. For those of you that don't know, I'm gonna tell the story here really quick. There is actually a card that was made for a particular person that was designed by this person because of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. We're all familiar with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, very famous organization that helps kids that have cancer fulfill their wishes, their desires. And so there was a kid named Tyler Gressel, who was 14 years old at the time, and he was suffering from a kidney cancer. And he was a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! They got in touch with him. They gave him a tour of the facility and everything, and he was able to design his own card, which he designed as Tyler the Great Warrior. And it's an effect monster, and it looks like a spitting image of future Trunks from Dragon Ball Z, which I do not say that to mean like, oh, it was uncreative or anything, because future Trunks is my favorite character from Dragon Ball, so that's epic that he's actually a Yu-Gi-Oh card. I didn't know this even existed. I just found this out recently. But even that card that was made by the Make-A-Wish Foundation, there's not just one of those cards in existence either. Oh, and by the way, Tyler is perfectly fine now. He survived. He had surgery. He was on the mend to recovery. He's perfectly healthy now. He did not let his cancer beat him, so that's good. I feel like I should have mentioned that at some point, because that could have been a really, really dark end to this story. But no, yeah, Tyler is fine, but he still has his card. And from what I hear, there's also another version of that Tyler the Great Warrior that's being held at Konami headquarters, like a framed version of it. And then there was a third copy that was sold at auction. So maybe this is all just hearsay. There's really no way for me to confirm this kind of stuff other than the card that Tyler owns, because there's a picture of him with it. I have not seen a picture of the auction card and of the framed card at Konami. Maybe they're out there, I just couldn't find them. But if that's the case, that means there's 3 versions of that, and there's still only one copy of each of those tournament prize cards. So I'm still gonna bent on the prize cards being even more rare. I think it's also because of the novelty that it was so early on in the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise. Now, just a little bit of a recap here. Where did I put the... Okay, so the Yu-Gi-Oh manga which the card game is of course based off of, was released in 1996 by Kazuki Takahashi. Now, even the manga did not get right into the concept of duel monsters. The first few volumes of this is an omnibus that has the first 3 volumes, and these all include like different kinds of penalty or death games, shadow games that Yugi plays with a bunch of unsuspecting, sometimes very horrible people. Yeah, early Yu-Gi-Oh was dark as shit. You know, like, you do not want to mess with early Yugi or early Yami. He will screw you over. Okay, so it took a while to get to the actual card game of Yu-Gi-Oh, but eventually they got to that, you know, Duel Monsters arc, and the card game was made in real life. Now, there were a few Yu-Gi-Oh cards that existed before the OCG was ever released. There was a video game for the Game Boy that was based off of the first few seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh, or the first few, you know, manga arcs, and in that video game, this was before the card game ever even really existed properly, there were a few promotional cards. So they were really, at that point, they were just like, let's take some cards from the manga and give them to the people that buy this video game as just collector's items, because there's no card game yet. You can't really play them. So there was like Black Skull Dragon, and there was Mirror Force and Castle of Dark Illusions, and you can clearly tell by these pictures that, you know, they're gray, and they look completely different from any, you know, actual official trading card. My favorite part is that the stars for the level have different colors. That is actually a gimmick that I would prefer, you know, because they range upward from like light green all the way up to like dark red. That'd be pretty cool if they kept that concept, but, you know, make the cards a little bit more colorful, I suppose. But yeah, so there were cards that existed like that, but they weren't official. And to be fair, the prize cards at the tournament, they weren't official either. You couldn't use them in a duel. For one thing, I mean, it's kind of an unfair advantage, because if you put them in your deck, they're made of steel. You'd be able to tell when you were about to draw one. It would kind of screw up shuffling and everything like that. So you can't play them in the card game. Now, there was another card that was released as a promotional thing for that tournament. It was an attendance card. So everybody that attended this tournament in Ginza in 1999 received a Kannan the Sword Mistress. And I believe this was just an ordinary card. It wasn't printed on steel or anything. Kannan the Sword Mistress, you may remember her from my censored cards video I did a while back. She was the one that had giant pointy missile boobs, but they had to censor her in America. Now, this was given out to all of the attendants there, so there were a lot of these. I don't know if they had, like, they took it, they ballparked how many people were going to be there, and they had this many number of cards prepared or something. So there's a lot more of that Kannan the Sword Mistress, but still, it's an attendance card that you got, but it was an attendance card at the first ever Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. So I'm still thinking, if you were going to have a copy of that from back in 1999, you could probably at least get a few $100 off of that, you know what I mean? So, yeah, this was a relatively short video. I just wanted to talk about the rarest cards. I wanted to get this video out last Sunday, but some stuff happened. I just didn't have time to do it. So, we're gonna get into October now, the actual October videos I had planned. So this Sunday, it would be Call of the Haunted is what we're gonna start off this month for properly, and then after that I have a few other ideas from here on out. But I wanted to get the rarest card video out. I wanted to talk about this, you know, I didn't want to wait. I could wait till November. I don't want to wait that long though. Let's just do it now. But yeah, to end us out, the rarest cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! I would say they are these 4 prize cards from the first ever tournament, and only one of which we know for a fact still exist because of the listing. What happened to the other 3, I have absolutely no idea. I hope they're somewhere in a bank vault, you know, covered in a layer of plastic to make sure not a single mote of dust could ever touch them. I hope that's the situation they find themselves in, but who knows? They might have been destroyed at some point. I have no idea who the winners with this tournament are. I couldn't find them out either. The winner of one of these cards could have been a teenager and could have, like, accidentally, oh yeah, I won the Super War Lion as the 3rd place card, but I lost it between my bed sheets when I moved out of my parents' place and just never found it, and it could be sitting in a landfill decomposing right now, completely rust, you know? So that would suck. But I would say it's the 4 prize cards, with a close runner-up being the Tyler the Great Warrior card, the Make-A-Wish Foundation, you know, special card that was created for Tyler. So, yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed this video, found it informative, I guess, and moving on to the Halloween videos. Thanks, everybody. Signing out.